Welcome, and thank you all for joining us for this special series of the Crexi Podcast, an insider's look at all things commercial real estate. I'm your host, Ashley Kobovich, Director of Partnerships at Crexi, and this is the Women of Influence series, delivering next-level insights and expertise live from GlobeSt's Multifamily Fall 2024 event. And today, we're thrilled to sit down with Kristen Croxton, Principal at Arcus Harbor Real Estate Capital. A little bit about our guest. Kristen formed Arcus Harbor with her partners to provide clients with the best financing solutions available in the market. She has almost 3 decades experience originating and managing acquisitions and refinancings across commercial real estate asset classes nationwide, with particular emphasis on multifamily. With a primary focus on multifamily, Arcus has an exclusive agreement with Lument to provide Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and balance sheet debt. Along with our partners, she has originated more than $20 billion in multifamily loans since 2005. Prior to forming Arcus Harbor, Kristen was a senior vice president at Capital One Multifamily and its predecessor company, Beach Street Capital. With her partner, Greg Reed, she expanded the company's presence in the western United States by opening its Newport Beach, California office. Before that, she was a vice president of originations and a Freddie Mac product manager and senior underwriter for Deutsche Bank Berkshire Mortgage. During her career, Kristen has originated Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, CMBS, Life Company, Bridge, debt fund, and balance sheet executions, and worked with a broad range of loan structures, including fixed and floating rate debt, tax-exempt bonds, construction loans, rehab and lease-up structures, and credit facilities. As an active member of the commercial real estate community, Kristen has held numerous leadership positions with the Orange County chapter of Commercial Real Estate Women, also known as CREW, and currently sits on its advisory board. In addition, she has been the co-chair of CREW Network's Multifamily Council for the past 3 years and previously served on the Fannie Mae Originator Subcommittee and on the Freddie Mac Advisory Committee. She is also a member of the Audit Committee of the Innovative Housing Opportunities, which is a nonprofit that provides high-quality, affordable, and low to moderate income housing and services. Kristen holds a Bachelor of Business Administration in Finance from James Madison University. Kristen, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's really exciting to sit down with you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
So I know we just covered a bit about your background, but give us a 30,000-foot overview. Who are you? How did you get your start in commercial real estate?
Sure. Well, I actually have, like you said, a degree from James Madison with a concentration in finance. And in that, I actually took all 2 real estate classes that they had, which gave me an actual concentration within real estate. But coming out of school, I had no idea what I was going to do. I was just looking for a job anywhere. And I ended up in a job that didn't work out and found a new job in the real estate space about 9 months after that. And I've been in that space since. I was an underwriter or an analyst when I first started. So basically just running cash flows. But I still do that today, every day when I'm looking at deals for clients. So.
Well, we love that. So a lot of people don't know what they want to do after college, but commercial real estate found you, and we're lucky to have you. Tell us a little bit of some of the lessons that you learned, whether that was early on in your career or just a big one, maybe that have pivoted or has just been very instrumental in your success and growth.
Sure. I think for me, one of the biggest lessons, and it was a hard one when it happened, but is owning your mistakes. So there's nothing better than telling a client right away when you've got an issue. You can't hide it. It's going to come back. It's going to bite you. And the last thing you want to do is have a loan cut or some kind of issue with the deal right before the deal closes. So it's always just, if you make a mistake, own it and move forward.
Yes, I love that. Just being honest and transparent, it'll go a long way. I know it might suck at first, but
it's painful in the moment for sure. But
but you move forward. So in that same vein, what are some of the most significant challenges you faced in your career in commercial real estate, and how did you overcome them?
I think in the beginning, there was not nearly as many women when I started. There's a lot more now, which is great, but that doesn't make it necessarily easy. I do think finding the right kind of sponsor or mentor or both, if you're lucky, really helps kind of move you through the system and get promoted. Being in a company that's focused on promoting their women is huge. Deutsche Bank had a great program that I was able to participate in. Capital One did a lot of that as well. So I think those are like just finding that your niche within the space and then finding people to help support you has helped me overcome stuff. But
Absolutely. And
an issue though. Sorry, I'm rambling.
No, it's totally fine.
Yeah. And then I think the other thing for women that I find it, and it's generalization, but it's just kind of the imposter syndrome and like feeling like you don't always know what, like you're not the smartest person in the room or you don't really understand what's happening, but trusting yourself and like knowing that you belong in the room is important.
I love that. I think that is just really innate. It has to be within you in order for it to actually resonate with the rest of the room. So give us a little bit of insights into daily habits or things that you practice. Anything that you do on a day-to-day, whether it's within work or outside of work, meditation, yoga, etc., that make you successful.
I wish I was better at yoga and meditation. My husband, he crushes that. I can't quite find enough time in the day for all of it. But I think for me, like the first thing I do when I get to work is ironically go over my checklist. Like, where am I? Where did I leave off yesterday? And kind of rewrite it in the new priority order so that I know like what I need to get done for the day. I think that is helpful because otherwise you can get stuck on like, okay, well, I put this on here yesterday and so I must do it next, but like it might not be the right order anymore, right? Like things change. So just reprioritizing each day to know where to go.
To know exactly where you are.
Yeah.
I love to hear that. So coming into obviously why we're here today, we're at the Multifamily Conference. So getting a little bit into the insights, trends, et cetera. What are you seeing right now in the multifamily space or the commercial real estate space overall?
I think things feel like they're starting to thaw out. So we've had, a couple years of really low sales volume and obviously higher interest rates related to each other. And so I think that the timing is better now, right? Like the rates went down, a lot of people got excited, ready to go, and they've come back up a little bit, but they're still better than where they were 12 months ago. So I think there's going to be more transaction volume as we go through the end of this year and into next year. That's my hope at least, but it feels that way. So we're super busy, which is great.
That is really great. Yeah. So not going to put you on the spot here, but if you did have a crystal ball, where do you see the industry over the next 5-10 years? Are there trends today that will impact the industry short or long term?
That's a great question. I think it's kind of a constant evolution. So there's still lots of conversations about what we do with, the office space, what we do with a lot of the like defunct mall space. How do we kind of redevelop that into useful space? So I think we're going to continue to see some of that. I feel like the mall space, it seems to be taking off faster than how to convert offices. A lot trickier to make into multi or whatever you're going to do with it. So I think that's kind of where you're going to see a lot of people spending their time.
Yep. Really great insight. Obviously, we're here for also women of influence. What do you see as the biggest opportunity for women in commercial real estate today?
I think today the world is whatever you want it to be, right? Like you can take on any role. I think what I'm seeing a lot this year, which I love, and I'm fortunate enough to be part of it too, is that there's a lot of women starting their own companies. And I think that's great. Like stepping out, it's scary, but especially within Crew Orange County, we have a couple people this year that have all done it, and it's really great to see that. Hopefully it's empowering for other people to kind of take that step and do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just seeing it done. It's like, that could be me,
right?
Maybe that's a confidence boost that you need. So I love that. And I love that all of the women are connecting down in Orange County. That's awesome. Coming on to leadership and mentorship, can you talk about maybe a leader or a mentor who's really been impactful on your career?
Sure.
Who that was, what they did?
Yep. So Grace Hubscher was the president of Beach Street Capital. She was one of the founders. So she hired Greg and I in 2011. Before that, she was at Fannie Mae, and I'd always heard her name, and I knew who she was, but I hadn't spent any time with her at that point. And watching her build Beach Street was just super inspirational to see it happen and see how quickly we grew and how we were able to solve problems and be nimble. And so all these things that I learned watching her lead the group was great, but also she's a great connector. So she was always putting me in contact with different people and supporting my growth. So she's my number one.
Yeah, I love that. Just watching someone too. And, for anyone listening out there, they might be struggling with how to find a mentor or who it is. You can always just research, right? It doesn't have to be that personal connection, although obviously that's great, but finding someone that you admire and then watching their journey even from afar. And, in the day and age that we're at, a lot of podcasts happen, or you can watch videos and things like that. So it's a really important thing to kind of know. And obviously we love connectors too. So that's a really big positive thing as well. In that vein, what advice would you give to young women starting out earlier in their career? Maybe something you would have wished that you knew.
Believe in yourself. I think that's for me was a hard part. I kind of that whole imposter thing, right? So being comfortable with yourself and pushing yourself out there. I think too, you still, it's hard to find the right space. And so it's okay to try and figure something out. But if you got to really enjoy what you're doing too, because you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of years doing it. So the sooner you can find what it is that you really are passionate about, I think that's great. It'll help you grow. But also, getting out in the markets, and this is what I tell kind of our analysts now, is get involved with CREW or NAIOP or ULI, whatever, any number of organizations that are there, and take advantage of what they offer, especially within their emerging leaders programs. They didn't have a lot of that when I started, but I think now it's a great way to help grow, because then you grow your career with these people that you've met, your peers, right? And it creates a lot of great job opportunities or business opportunities for you down the line as well.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, networking is super important in any industry, but even more so in commercial real estate. So I love that. Any tips or strategies you would say for someone maybe starting out or just isn't really that comfortable with it, right? Getting them out of their shell and kind of just doing it.
Right. I think if you can find an organization that's local, and I always like to push CREW because it's my favorite one, but just start by go to something small. You don't need to go to a big luncheon, because those can be intimidating, but go to find what they're doing on their website, look at their events, and go to something that's just a smaller group setting where it's not as intimidating, and start to meet people. I think where people kind of lose sight of the benefit of these things is they sign up for them, but then they don't participate. So there's no benefit. I mean, sure, you get access maybe to the membership directory or whatever, but if you have no connection with those people, it's not really a worthwhile experience, right? So join a committee, or get yourself involved so that you can kind of make your network within that group.
Yeah, I love that. Don't sit on the sidelines. You can start small and then work from there, get the reps in.
And I think a lot of leadership skills come from there too, right? When I first started at CREW, I hadn't had anybody reporting to me from a job position or anything like that, but I ran a golf tournament. I ran a couple other committees, and you just start to pick up skills. You see other people, and then it becomes much easier when you're going to management role within your company too. So.
Yeah, that's a really big thing. So everyone, get out there. How do you think the commercial real estate industry can improve in terms of diversity and inclusion? Any thoughts there?
That's a great question.
Suggestions?
Yeah,
we're all ears.
Yeah. I think what I feel like it's doing now, and I think it's getting better and better, is more outreach and more education. There's so many people that don't know what real estate, what you can do within real estate, and it's such a vast industry, right? You can be an engineer, an architect, a lender. You can whatever. You can be the owner, the developer. There's just so many pieces. So but I think it's getting out there. So doing a lot more outreach to universities and being more. I don't know. I think it's just basically more outreach, just to get people educated on it, and then especially in spots where it's not something that people would have been exposed to, maybe growing up in certain areas or something. So
absolutely, I can definitely agree with that. When, I didn't think I'd be in commercial real estate, and here we are sitting and chatting, all of the time. So I love that. Leaders, take note. I know you mentioned CREW, but have you been involved in any initiatives or programs aimed at supporting women in real estate? If so, can you share more about them?
Sure. CREW, again, going back to CREW, that's kind of where I spend a lot of my time. But CREW has a couple of different great initiatives. One, they've got scholarships that they set aside for women in real estate in undergrad or grad school, which is great. We've got mentorship programs. So I've been a mentor for CREW Orange County since the program started. So I have I don't know, 8 or 10 mentees that are running around now, hopefully being successful.
That's awesome.
Also, they've got CREW Careers, which is when they go out and they partner up with a group and we'll do education, kind of what I was just talking about, basically the outreach part of it. So those are kind of different things that CREW does. And I know a lot of other organizations do similar stuff.
Amazing. Any future goals or aspirations within the CRE industry that you would like to see in the future?
For myself or in general, or just, I think affordable housing is a real problem, right? So I'm excited that I'm on the audit committee now with IHO, because they're doing some great stuff on the affordable housing space. So personally, my ultimate goal is to buy some units and keep them in the affordable space and figure out how to provide services to the tenants. There's lots of different groups you can work with that. But I do think that, building more units is kind of the only way we can get out of this affordable housing crisis. So hopefully legislation works in that direction versus some of the other things that are out there right now to help solve the problem.
Yeah. Well, amazing. We hope that you do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. And I know that you're very busy, so really appreciate you sitting down with us. Before we let you go, if you could give our listeners, or maybe even to your younger self, a bit of advice, what would it be? Any parting words that you want to leave everyone with?
Yeah. I would say just go for it. Don't sit on the sidelines and watch. Like you can't time the perfect opportunity. So just start doing it now. Don't sit back. I'm super excited for me, like starting the new company this year. We should have done this years ago. It's great, but just sitting on the sidelines for too long doesn't serve you well.
Yes. So. Just go for it. You heard it here first. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for sitting down with us. If our listeners want to reach out, get in touch, how can they find you?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's still in progress, but it's arcusharbor.com. We also have a LinkedIn page. We are working on building out the rest of our social media, but those are the two spots right now.
Amazing.
So,
well, thank you again so much. Really appreciate your insight and your time here today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Thanks. Of course. And thanks for everyone who tuned in. If you enjoyed this episode, do not miss the next one. Visit Crexi.com/podcast and sign up to get the next episode delivered straight to your inbox. Of course, you can also subscribe to the Crexi Podcast on your favorite podcast app and check out our YouTube channel for video recordings of each episode. Take care and be sure to tune in next time.